welcome to the Austin Valley Railroad. We're at milepost 291 on the KCS Valley Railroad Historical Society. We're going to be starting this series. We're going to be doing reviews and some model builds. And when I went to the internet looking for in-scale model reviews on quite a bit of different stuff, there just wasn't very much stuff out there. So Model Man Mike suggested me to maybe start my own for the in-scale world. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I live in a little town about 30 miles west of Fort Smith, Arkansas in Oklahoma, and our closest hobby shop, well, is about 30 miles away, and it's kind of small, so you don't carry a lot of stuff. But I've been doing this. My dad started me with a Tyco train set back when I was about 10 or 11 years old, and then I moved up to AHM, if you guys remember AHM, which I always thought was a pretty good toy train. I always had good luck. Matter of fact, I still got some AHM stuff, and it still runs just as good today as it did back then. But I moved to in-scale after a few years of just messing with just a train. My dad kind of got me started with it, but I never really built a layout until about 88, I guess. I built a little in-scale layout, and I got bored of that, so I went ahead and I started to build an HO, and I built an HO for several years, and it was a pretty good size, room size layout. But I had to tear it down. I had 3 children coming, so I had to tear it down, and I got back in the in-scale. In the Austin Valley here behind me, this is actually my 4th large in-scale. It's my 3rd large in-scale layout. It's my 4th layout altogether. Hey, I was going to show you around a little bit of the Austin Valley Railroad here and give you a little bit of historical information about it. This here, of course, is Austin, and this is where it's centered at. This is where the Historical Society was started. It's a fictitious railroad. We use mainly KCS. We see some Missouri Pacific. You never know what you might see. New York Central, Delaware, Hudson, just anything that has to be rolling through. That's the neat thing about having a historical society. You can run about anything if you want to. But like I say, this is the main hub. This is Austin Valley, and we got a little branch line that runs off over here and goes to the rock quarry and over to a little town called Shelby, Arkansas. And we've got the park, we got the swimmers, and we got the motorcycle. They're always where the party is. Undisclosed things to people that's on the layout there. And there's a lot of action right here. In the big factory, they make guitar strings and guitar cases for a company that's in Shelby that makes guitars. And they bring them over here. They bring the stuff over here, the guitars over here. They string them, case them, and ship them out. We've got the lumber yard over there, and we've got the granary. We've got the old depot, the Austin. It serves some. We got RDC. He runs between Austin and Shelby, taking both commuters and passengers for sightseeing when the commuters ain't going back and forth to work. And you see, it's just a small little town, but it's a busy place. On the south side, we've got a little place over there that we call Christian Hill. That's where a lot of churchgoers go up there, and they have their sermons in the daytime. It's an interesting little place. A lot of this stuff, a lot of these buildings and stuff is older, from the older layouts. They're DPM, the Walthers. I've got some other kind of newer stuff in there. And we can move over past the Jackson Park here, and we go across the bridge over to Jacobs Mountain in the Jacobs Tunnel. And you can see a little bit better picture of the rock quarry over there. There's going to be a cement plant in the future that I will be building on here, and I'll probably have you guys to watch me build that and make a fool out of myself. I'll probably be asking Model Man Mike for a lot of advice on that. And you're going around here, as you can see, a little town, Shelby. It's a quaint little town. Got the Lehigh Valley engine sitting over there. He does a little switching for them every now and then, as the D&H does too. And then we have the yard. Here, this is Alex's yard. This is the main focal point of all the incoming and outgoing cars. We have several lines that comes into it. The Missouri Pacific comes in here along with Union Pacific. Down here, Missouri Pacific run quite often in this town, and we don't like to admit that Union Pacific ever took them over, so we still go with the Missouri Pacific. And you'll see some Burlington Northern Santa Fe's, and you'll see some Santa Fe's. Mainly it's KCS right now, and we don't do a Pacific time period because of the unavailability of automobiles. It's hard to find the newer automobiles. So we're just kind of going from late steam to modern day, so you'll never know what kind of engine that you're going to see. It's all a DC layout, as you can tell. Everything on this layout is all DC. I'm old school. I've just recently this year started getting into DCC a little bit, and we'll go into that into a later video. I've got some reviews to go over some things with that. But this one's just all DC. We have a lot of fun with it. Me and my son, we started about 3 years ago. Have some problems with it. Thought about tearing it down. Don't know if you guys think I ought to tear it down or not. Let me know. But at times I don't want to, and other times I do. I've got some of the bugs worked out of it, and so it is running a little bit better than it did before. I can't use my yard now. Before, I lost all power to my lead track in my yard. So that was a difficult problem to trace down and find. But other than that, we really quite enjoy this little layout. It's not much, but it's expanding. I actually have another layout started that we'll get into later. But this one will eventually go around into the other room via the Santa Fe and Union Pacific lines. Be going around there into another yard, or if I rebuild it, it's all going to be all brand new. So anyway, I'll shut up a little bit and let y'all watch some trains. Hey, I'm back. I just hope y'all enjoyed watching a little bit of the trains. It ain't much of a big layout, but it's a fun layout. It's probably, this part over here is about 34 inches by 7 foot. What's behind me is about 34 inches by 10 foot. And then we're going around the wall to the future. But as we're closing my first video, I want to make a few shout outs that this would have never been possible. I would have never even attempted this if it wasn't for these guys. I didn't realize all this stuff was on the internet until about a year ago, maybe a little more. And first one I found was Mike Pfeiffer, Pfeiffer Hobbies, and I watched his whole series on his AVRRHS, which is a great layout. It inspired me to do the DCC and try on the Cato track with the elevated curves, which is really nice. And we'll get into that later, but I want to really make a thank you to Mike Pfeiffer. He's a great guy. I've bought a few stuff off of him and had excellent service out of him. Would recommend him to anybody. And And the second guy that he just, I love watching his videos. He's got a great sense of humor, and that's Ben Earp. We all know him as NS Train fan. We love his song, Ben, I love your song. I sing it all the time. I love it. I love it. We should play it more. And then we've got Eric Hall of AVRRHS, I think. I enjoy watching all your videos and everything, and you guys really inspire me. And even though I don't do H and HO, I watch all your videos, James with JLWII 2000. He gives excellent reviews. Of course, one time I was in HO, so I'm still kind of interested in it, and I really enjoy these videos that he does. DJ's Trains, you're a humorous guy. I love watching your videos. Very good knowledge. Derek Glass, same thing. Man, you guys are great. You know, BNSF 9561, Vinny, you guys are all great. And one of the latest ones that I've run across, and I think maybe Eric or Ben or one of them guys introduced me to your page, and that's Model Man Mike. I had to subscribe to all you guys, but I really like Model Man Mike. I never was much into the building of buildings. It bored me. I hated it. I got to watch his videos. It's inspired me to get back into it and really try to make these buildings look good, and instead of just a piece of plastic. And but I hope y'all like my videos. I've got more to come. Like I say, I've got a lot to go over, a lot to review, a lot to talk about, and I want to thank y'all, and y'all have a good night.